What is up, guys? Technical Stinkers here, checking in on the 3D print operation for today. Running a little light today, but wanted to catch up on some maintenance. So if you've been following the series, you know I've been doing these large guns or an art model you put up on the wall. This one, a lot of people coming in and chiming in with like what could potentially be the issue. I was having some bubbling on the top. I think it might be printer dependent because we're doing it on this other printer now. Doesn't experience the same issue, and this printer, Cobra 3, the one I'm doing maintenance on, had the thing where like the sensor kind of got jacked up. It just gouges into the plate, and so adjusted it down, put it back on there. I'm gonna wait for this to finish before I start doing the like vibration compensation and all that kind of stuff, because this is at the very end of the print, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize it. Over here on the P1P, we're doing something a little, it's not like business related, I know, but I have Thanksgiving coming up. Unfortunately, there was no way out of it. It's happening here at my place. So I'm printing a little centerpiece. It's like a turkey, but I had to make it clear. I can't just do things and with a smile on. I have to kind of signal in some way my displeasure with the situation. So it's a turkey holding a sign that says leave. So hopefully people will catch on and then leave the house quickly. Everything else is quiet, but we did some other stuff in the office. Let's go check that out. Wait, no, we don't want to go in the office yet because I'm doing maintenance in here, and someone had suggested doing a rep rack system. I've never heard of it before, but it's these 3D printed racks. You use a 1/2-inch EMT, which is electrical conduit. Luckily, I had some laying around. And you just make these racks here, and so that's what I set up these spool things, but they have shelf adapters and AMS, all kinds of adapters for this very modular, open source type dealie. So I'm gonna put up another one here so I can delete this shelf. But the problem is, I'm running into a bit of a problem here. So as you may or may not know, I have an Orange Storm Giga coming, and if you may or may not know, the Orange Storm Giga is a very large printer. And that's why I put everything on racks, because the Orange Storm Giga is going to go here in the corner, and that piece of tape there indicates the where the edge of the machine should be if I tuck it against the wall, because the machine's like 4x4 square. So that gives me a little room here, and I was thinking maybe I just kind of move it over, that way I can get to either side of it with some ease. But I noticed today, I didn't even really think about this, as I was doing maintenance on Cobra 3, this kind of comes out quite a ways from the rack. So here, let's illustrate. Illustrate it. So got it up here. See, as you can tell, I'm kind of in a bit of a pickle here because I got, oh dear Lord, 5 days until allegedly it ships. If they ship it at the date that they said they was gonna. You know, I could get to it, one of the printers, just fine, but one of the printers is going to be blocked. That's just how it's going to be. So my options are relocate the two Cobras that are above it, but I don't want to having them up high kind of makes sense because they run low and slow, and they're huge. Well, not huge, but they're big printers. And so having them up high kind of works. My other option is to scooch the shelf out, and so if I bring it out another a lot, I'm kind of starting to impede on my my space a little bit here. It just seems like such a bummer to have to put this so far out, but I would need to come out with the shelf another 2 feet, and that would kind of make it, you know, it would be out where that tape is, and you know, not in a pretty line like everything else. So kind of wondering how to approach that, you know, because I want to keep all the printers together. I don't want this stuff peppered around my house. The Giga needs to go in here because it's a solid surface. It's air conditioned. All my printer stuff's here. So moving them around to different places is not really a viable option. But, you know, I need to be able to get to these Cobras, and I don't want to be like hovering over the Giga too much. I don't want the Cobras like dropping stuff on the Giga. You know, I can do an enclosure or something like that, but, you know, I guess it comes with the territory. You get a 4-foot cube printer, you know, you're going to have some issues finding a home for it. Oh, look, and as I was yik-yakking, our back slide finished up. So we'll go ahead and take that into the, well, I want to let it cool first. I don't want to rip it off the plate while it's hot. But scratch that. I'm going to save it. This is the part of the video where I usually kick it over to my future self in the morning to see how everything worked out, and hopefully, future Matt, you've got more to say than I do. It is the next morning. I do have some extra stuff to talk about. Thank you, past Matt, checking in on the 3D stuff for today. So, got a few things going on. Let's take a look. Here on the P1P, our turkey coming together, nice and big. Up here on all the Cobras, so what we did was, if you recall, I've been printing these rolling trays for my main business as sort of a way to get rid of spools, and also to keep the printers running, because I don't really make that much money on these, really any, but it keeps the printers running and it is of benefit to the operation. So it's kind of like a, okay, if I have downtime, do maintenance, print rolling trays. So have some here in this offensive brown color, have some here finishing them up in this UJoy Bio metallic copper that we got on promo. Thank you to them for sending it for free. Link in the description below if you want to get some of that. A1's quiet down here on the Soval. Well, we already had this green loaded up, and I thought, let's go ahead and run it. Came out looking great. So a few people asking, a lot of people coming in and asking, like, you know, how's the Soval doing? Do you have any problems with it? You know, the Wi-Fi is finicky, no doubt. Can't see, like, I think it's more to do with Octoprint and the way that it's handled, because it's not through, like, you know, cloud service or whatever. So I might come in and hardline it with an Ethernet, but it's actually not been that big of a deal to put the G codes on the USB and run them in here. And I can fit 4 of these on one plate. Quality came out real good on these, so got those there. Cobra 3 still down, haven't looked into it. I replaced the print head, went to do an auto level, and I kind of left it where it stops. It just kind of runs into the plate. Like, can I get it? You see what I'm talking about? It just jams into the plate. Someone said to run it all the way up the Z and then try to calibrate from there. So I'm gonna try that later. I'm just gonna run it all the way up and see if that works, because I did adjust that sensor down. And the front section of the slide over here on Cobra 4 with the new settings. Last piece that I'm waiting for. So hopefully that finishes up without issue. And yesterday, I was kind of earlier in the video anyway, I was kind of talking about how the Orange Storm Giga is really going to be an issue with me getting to these Cobras up here, because it sticks out so far. And so I was doing a little bit of measuring over here. I had recently put in this middle shelf for like storage, but I got this rack over here and I can put up another rep rack. So my thinking is, I just redid all this, but you know, redoing stuff's the fun part. If I take the Soval and put it, let's just forget the Soval exists for a second and remove this shelf. This gives me plenty of room to put those 2 Cobras down here. And so I could have Cobra, 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 Bamboo, Bamboo. Wouldn't have this shelf, and I'd still have to find a place for the Soval. But I could theoretically put the Soval up here towards this side, and that leaves me plenty of room over there for the Orange Storm Giga, and then just nothing over there, I guess, or, you know, stuff that I don't really need to get to that often. That's my best plan currently, and I don't have long. It's supposed to ship in 4 days. Now, I think they send it freight, or yeah, probably on a box truck, or, you know, it's probably coming on a pallet. And it's all right, I got a forklift. I can get it in here, and the garage door's right there. But, you know, once it gets here, I want to have all this area clean and ready to go. I don't want to be sitting around waiting for it for too long. So that's the state of things as they sit currently. Let's head into the office and see what else I got. All right, got the big Glock here, the bottom section glued up, and this is the top section that we reprinted because we had that top surface issue. Reprinted on Cobra 4. You can kind of see there's some areas that, like, maybe it's like the discoloration, but it's smooth. See, it's fine. It looks great. Running it slow and hot, came out. So Cobra 4 seems to be the winner there. And additionally, I didn't mention this, someone suggested in the comments like a week ago to get, for glue, instead of using my cyanoacrylate and baking soda or that JB Weld with the little light instant curing thing. I still use that thing. That thing works great. It's good for like tack welding-ish. But they told me to get some of this cyanoacrylate and activator spray. And I used it here for the Glock, and it works great. It's an immediate bond, but you gotta be quick and you gotta be precise because, you know, once you touch it, you get like 3 seconds and that's it. You just spray this on, it evaporates in a few seconds, and then you put this on the other piece, and once you stick it together, boom, it's on there. And so I did that with this Glock lower section, nice and sturdy. I went ahead and added my Colt Python up here to the wall until I figure out what to do with it. There was a very kind person that that did email me, and I emailed someone else who had previously emailed me about helping out with some of these designs. So they're taking a look at it, I guess, and I'm still kind of brainstorming how to do it. Someone also chiming in and saying like 105, I think it was 105 inches is like the limit if you add up all the dimensions of a box. So as long as I don't break that, I should be okay. But that model is most definitely not going to be able to fit that unless I get, I mean, I'm going to have to cut the model. So still working on the Colt Python. Glocks are fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Sort of the final thing that I've been like looking forward to or working on is I'm going to pack up the Revo Point Mini 2 and be sending that back. I bought it on Amazon. I paid a little more, but I like buying it on Amazon. It's just so convenient versus, you know, the extra days in shipping is kind of worth it. Plus, if I wanted to return it versus doing an RMA with the manufacturer and send it back on Amazon. But I am still interested in getting a 3D scanner, and I mentioned that in yesterday's video, and a lot of people chiming in with it. A lot of people saying, like, get a Morocco, get an Einstar. Those seem to be the two big ones that come up, the Morocco or the Einstar, for what I'm looking for, which is like medium-ish sized models. So I'm looking at those. I can't help but think that, like, I keep kind of coming back to the Creality, and the only Creality product I've ever got is my Ender 3, my original printer. And the reviews on it are not fantastic, but it's about that same price range. It has the blue laser scanning, but really I'll say the selling point is that it's a big name. Like Einstar, I know they make, you know, generally good devices. The Revo Points have, you know, good reviews. But as far as I'm aware, as far as I've seen in the space, they're specialized into scanners, and, you know, maybe that's a good thing, but Creality is a big company. And so that kind of is an important consideration for me when buying really any product, the size of the company. Now, of course, you want to support small businesses and upstart business and all this kind of stuff, but, you know, I don't want to buy a product, an expensive gadget, and then the company folds or they're not making enough money, and, you know, you kind of lose support. They don't keep developing the software or upgrading it or whatever. Plus, if you're within that ecosystem of Creality, then maybe, you know, there's future integrations and things like that. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. If that just doesn't, you know, matter to you, or if that's not ever a consideration, but it kind of is to me. So I'm looking at between the Creality. I've heard the software on some of these or other of these is not so good, but ultimately the software is kind of a secondary concern to the actual scanner itself, because software can always be upgraded. Once you get the gadget, you can't really upgrade the gadget unless it's like a firmware update or something like that. And again, the scans that I got off Curie Engine were good. I didn't buy Curie Engine. I didn't upgrade to the Pro version, which is like $50 a year. And that may still be a possibility, but it seems to me that Curie Engine should at least give you like a couple of the good level scans for free to like really demonstrate what it's capable of, because I did the LiDAR and I did the photogrammetry. And the detail really was not fantastic, at least to the level that I was looking for. And so it's possible that if I upgraded to the Pro version, I could get that higher detail, that higher fidelity. But I'm not going to roll the dice on that. I'm not just going to piss away $50 just, you know, like, well, maybe it's better if I upgrade, because I know for a fact if I get one of these higher end 3D scanners that the fidelity will be there. Another thing too, before I finally pull the trigger on a new scanner, is like I'd like to identify at least like one more thing that I want to scan that I'm confident like will sort of lead down the road to additional sales. So my main thing was the RC car, because I wanted to design like a shell around it. Another thing is the bulb, but that's more of an art print. And then when I was in my stores a few days ago, we've always had a lot of statues there for as long as we've been in business. And they're more so, they're for sale, but they're more so like decoration. I was like, you know, some of these statues are cool because they're all handmade in Bali, you know, by someone sitting there hand making it. And I'm like, you know, maybe it'd be cool to scan one of these cool hand carved wooden statues and 3D print it, because, you know, there's like Ganesh and Vishnu and, you know, like snakes and things like that. It's pretty cool. But those kind of models exist online anyway. People love designing dragons and snakes and bullshit like that. So I'd really, again, like to identify one more sort of functional print, or at least one thing that I know will lead to a functional print, and say like, you know, well, if I could scan this, then it would lead to I'd be able to turn around and engineer a product very quickly to sort of generate and get back on to hopefully recoup my investment, even though I don't really subscribe to ROI-based thinking like that. So anyway, that's what's going on with the 3D print update for today. Let me know what you guys are working on. Let me know what all those things that I said, like, you know, give me your tips and suggestions. Do all those, please, because it's tremendously helpful. It really is. Try to get back to as many comments as I possibly can. Again, thank you to all the new subscribers. Press like because it's the nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.